In this video, we're going to plan the roof chop, look at the best way to do it, and consider the implications of the proposed cuts coming up. Hey, how's the jokes, and welcome back. Hey, and a hearty welcome to the new guys. Thanks for joining us today out here in my workshop. So if you don't know me yet, my name is Steph. I run a one-man shop in the middle of a forest, which is on a small farm, which is near a tiny town called Mossel Bay, which is, believe it or not, close to the southern tip of Africa. So my mission now is to chop this roof. I want to cut it off, remove a section and drop it. So my first decision is going to have to be, how much do I want to take out? How much do I want to drop it? Right? So one way in which this could be done is to cut a section out of here and remove that obviously and drop it down. That will mean that the back window will get smaller, and depending on how much you drop, this window can actually become almost like a letterbox opening. That's what I mean. Look at the size of the back windows here on the rogue rat rod. This top was dropped 6 inches, and look how narrow this or small this window is. Actually very hard to see anything through it. But on this build, I don't want to make my back window any smaller. I want to keep it this size so that we can still have good visibility when we look back. So one way in which to do this is to cut it like I've shown you here. If I remove this section, then I go vertically up here and I remove that section, what will happen? That corner will go there, that corner will go there. So I will drop the roof by this amount and I will still keep the back window the same size. So if I do it like this, the amount that I can come down will pretty much be determined by this distance that I've got here, which is maximum 3 inches, because that's how much I've got in this flat part here before I start running into the body lines here. So if I drop this roof 3 inches, what will the effect be on the poor driver, if I can put it like that? I know guys do extremely radical chops. I've done some myself in my younger days, but I'm older now. I'm not such a contortionist anymore. You need to be a contortionist sometimes to get into some of these radical chops. So I think I'm just going to put a seat in there, maybe even a steering wheel, get my ass in there, and let's just get a feel for where we're going. So I'm just going to put this seat in here for a test. This is not the seat I'm going to be using for the build. I just want to get a feel for things though. So let me get my ass in here so I can get a feel for things. There we go. Okay, so I'm just looking through my windscreen. I think my height is not bad actually. If I have to do a little bit of this to see the front end of the truck, but that's not bad. I've got good view over the bottom end of the windscreen, or over the hood, the imaginary hood. I still don't have a hood. I've got a lot of space above my head at the moment. Just a rough measurement. It's at least 8-9 inches, but that's no problem. I need to see the top end of the windscreen. When that comes down by my 3 inches, or the 3 inches that I'm looking at currently, I think I must just get myself a steering wheel in here just to get a better feel. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to find a steering wheel to stick in here. So I got the steering column from my Nissan donor truck, and I'm just busy stripping all the ugly plastic bits and pieces off of it. I don't need it. I'm just getting down to the essence basically cutting away all the fat, so to speak. But now I've got to just cut off this flange here that is attached to this column. I don't need it anymore, and it's in the wrong spot anyway. So while I'm at it, half of the foam on the original old steering wheel is already gone. I might as well rip off the rest, and I can get it down to the bone, so to speak. That's what I'm talking about. Down to the metal. Cool, I'm down to the essence of the steering wheel. Let me go stick this thing in the truck and we can see what we've got. So I've just got it roughly clamped in here. I've got no idea if this position is correct. I just used a standard bracket that was welded or is welded to that steering column and clamped it to the dash. So let's see if this is going to work. Yes, that's actually not bad for a first try, eh? I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking it needs to come down a little bit maybe. It's a little bit too high. Might want to move it forward a tiny little bit. But yeah, it's close. There's no problem here with vision. I can actually see my gauges, my instruments through the steering wheel, no problem. It's actually all looking pretty good. I just think I'm going to drop it a little bit more. So I think I've pretty much established my seat height off of the floor, because that's obviously going to affect what goes on up here. I feel that I'm sitting nicely here. I don't want my seat any lower. And also if I go lower, then I'm going to start having a vision problem across the top of the hood. So I'm pretty happy with this. You know what? Let's make a model of this business so we can all understand it better. And here it is. I present to you the highly technical virtual 2D interactive rooftop model built in true forest engineering style from the cleanest piece of white hardboard I could find. So it's not to scale, and I'm obviously looking at my roof from the back, and you can see all my cut lines, and these sections are the 3-inch sections that I would like to remove. So I take them out like that. Let me see if we can get this one out. There we go. And now I can move my roof down. And we've dropped the roof the 3 inches, while keeping that window intact. There is a problem though. Look what's going on here. And I zoom in. Can you see? It's not lining up there anymore. There's a gap there now. That is of course because the side is slanted. If the side was vertical, we wouldn't have that problem. So the difference that we get here will depend on two things: how much we lower the roof and the angle of the side here, this angle here. So back onto the truck, I have now clamped on this piece of flat bar vertically as shown by my spirit level. So now you can see the change in angle. There's the gutter line or the roof line looking at it from the back, and there's my vertical line represented by this piece of metal. So I've measured up from where the vertical line intersects the roof line, and I want to drop 3 inches. I've made a mark right there. So that mark represents my 3-inch drop. So that distance is the offset, and that is by how much it will be out of line, which is basically in the region of 1/2 inch. Back to my model. So now what can I do to sort out my problem? I'm out of whack there by 1/2 inch. So one thing I can do is I can cut the whole roof in half, then move this section that way 1/2 inch, and the same this side, move that way 1/2 inch, then I'm lined up there, and I will have about 1 inch gap in the model that I would need to fill in. That's one way. So cutting this whole roof into 2 pieces lengthwise, and then joining it again sounds like a lot of work to me. So here's another possibility. Look what I've done here. I've given it a cut there, and I cut there. Let me zoom in and let's see what can happen there now. So let's call this cut a relief cut, and we'll call this one a pie cut. It's actually dart shaped. You can see I've removed a little bit of material there. So I can now insert a spacer here and push it open some, and I can actually pull this one in a little bit. So let me install a small spacer in there just to keep it open. I've got a little spacer in there, so it's pushed it open a little bit. I pull this one closed. Hey, voila, we're lining up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play with relief cuts and pie cuts to line up these edges once I've dropped the roof. I think it's a lot less work than splitting the whole roof in half and having to fill in a piece here and here, all the way along. So we got all clever looking at it from the back, but this is a 3D business, so we better look at it from the side as well. So now this is a vertical line pretty much, so taking my 3 inches out of there, it's not going to be a problem. But look at this angle here. So what do you think is going to happen here if I go down 3 inches? We better make another model quickly, I think. Again, not to scale, but it will serve to illustrate the principles. So I've marked my cut lines again, an imaginary 3 inches apart. And the first thing I would like to say is, can you see that these cut lines here are not perpendicular to the A-pillar? They are actually the back cut lines that is extended all the way through to the front. I see many guys mark the 3 inches square to the A-pillar, so the cuts would be square, and that's wrong, because then the front won't drop the same 3 inches that you drop in the back. Let me prove it to you. So look at this. Here I've got my lines 3 inches apart vertically. That's at the back end of the cab. But what happens if I measure 3 inches along that angled, I think you call it the A-pillar, right? Check at this. 3 inches, and I come short. I need to extend these things and keep them parallel if I want to drop the front the same as the back. The difference here is about 1/4 of an inch. So let's remove our 3 inch pieces. Now we drop the roof, we keep the back lined up, and look what happens in the front. Oh dear. So this misalignment distance is much more than what we had in the back, and that is because we've got much more of an angle. Remember the story? If this was vertical, it would not have this problem. And then obviously, the worse this angle, the more this distance, and the more I drop, you can see, the more the misalignment. So how am I going to fix that now? So we could say, let's do that relief cut business again. So we cut there so that we can bend this open, and we pie cut there so that we can close this up. But that's a lot that we have to move. And if we look at this thing from the front, there's the vertical. So we're already in this plane, we're going to have to pie cut it here and relief cut it there to get them to meet up. Same as what we have to do in the back. So it's becoming messy now, eh? Cut here to open in this direction, and cut on this side to open in that direction. It's like cuts everywhere. What a mess. So maybe an easier solution is to just cut the roof right through there, all the way through. The back section can stay in that place and space now, and then the front section can just move forward until it lines up. There's no change of angles, there's no pie cuts and relief cuts to struggle with. This, I think, is an even better way to do it. Notice my cut line. So now I can move this piece forward until we line up. And because I've cut it like this, that gives me a line to help me line up things, that it remains parallel. So it will mean I have to fill in here across the roof, and I have to make a little patch piece to go in there. I want to complicate my life though. I want the top of the roof to slant a bit. So it means I want to move the front down another inch. Something like that. So we can see what's starting to happen in the back. It's opening up there. Or maybe we can keep it parallel in the back. And now we're starting to get this here. I do, however, feel that the change won't be as radical as maybe what we see here. Maybe I can steal a little bit in the back. And I can maybe steal a little bit here. We'll have to see. But I do want to drop the front more than the back. So I'm just mocking up my proposed roof job. So I've added this piece of hardboard here. It's sitting 4 inches lower than the original window line. And here on the side, very roughly, this will simulate a 4-inch drop in the front and a 3-inch drop in the back. So now I can just get in and see what my vision looks like, and if I can get in. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. My vision is great. I don't think this line is a problem. I can see well. So that's what it looks like from the front. Here's my original line. This one is now 4 inches lower. But I can see you very well. You can see the road very well. So yes, I think it's gonna look quite awesome. But it's not so radical that I need to be a bloody contortionist to get in and out of the car. And with this line that's going to be around here, getting in and out, it's not too bad. I think it's going to work. I think that's what I'm going to do. So if you can imagine it with me then, here's the game plan. I'm going to drop it 3 inches in the back, 4 inches in the front, so that I can get this roof to slant a little bit. And then hopefully it will all work out well in reality. So my plan of action now is to start doing the layout for my proposed cuts. So once again, my addiction to building shit is getting the better of me. So I think I'm just going to sit here for a while and contemplate my sins. So I think I'm going to call it a video. So thanks very much for spending some time with me out here in my forest workshop. I will see you in the next video, where I will definitely be cutting the roof off. Until then, have a good one.